Yesterday I made a point that one area that this offense can improve upon, it's not the obvious second half, moving the ball, putting points up, preserving the lead. I talked about our performance versus pressure and kind of playing a little better versus pressure. After I released that video yesterday, today JT O'Sullivan went back, reviewed the film from the Washington game. He came in with the same kind of idea that I don't know what's going on with this offense, but the lack of hot reads and the ability to go alert here versus pressure, it's a little concerning. That's got to get cleaned up before you get to the better teams in the league. Today I want to talk and I want to continue our conversation by introducing the concept of third down offense and kind of tying this all together. All right, y'all, let's get to it. What's up, Cerebral football fans? My name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. Hey, if you're new to the channel, it's maybe the first, second, third time you caught my content and you enjoyed today's discussion. We just crossed over 6,400 subscribers. We're on a journey, a path towards 7,500 subscribers. I would love to add you to the Cerebral football community. Just need you to subscribe to do that. Small G subscribers here, and I'm going to ask you to do guys hat in hand here. Hey, hit that like button, smash the thumbs up button. Help me spike this algorithm and get this in front of new people that we can potentially convert into our little audience here on the YouTube. All right, y'all. Today's topic. We're talking third down production. There was one disturbing sequence, I'll say, right? And let me pad that. Let me walk that back a little bit. I won't call it disturbing. I'll just say that from the perspective of someone who's played quarterback before, right? I mean, you see these guys like JT O'Sullivan who play quarterback at a much higher level than me, professional quarterback. Us guys who really understand route concepts, who really understand like the idea of how offense should function and flow in certain circumstances. You can see we're all kind of watching the tape and we're all coming away with the same kind of questions, which is there's a lot of good with this offense. But, hey man, what is up with the alerts and the hot reads when people start overloading a side of our defense? Basically, you've heard me talk about this before, guys, if you've been following me for a while. There's a concept of theory that most quarterbacks know. This is something that we teach even at the lower levels of football, which is you see an extra defender, you replace the extra defender with the football. But in order for that to happen, there must be a hot read, an alert you can go to, right, that gets the ball out quickly. Well, when you watch the film of the Philadelphia Eagles offense, that's lacking, that's missing. And it's a little perplexing on why we're putting so much of the focus, so much of the onus, if you will, of our offense in that regard into the hands of Jalen Hurts. Now, before we go any further, I do need to point something out about this. If you go down and you look at third down numbers, and the reason I'm bringing up third down, guys, is that if you just go beyond just pressure numbers, number one, pressure is likely to occur on third down. But number two, it's kind of the money down, right? If you look at third down numbers, I don't want you guys to walk away here feeling confused about how well Jalen Hurts is playing, because I'm going to tell you right now, the young man's balling. He's MVP status conversation here. That's how well he's playing in this early portion of the season. Let me get into a few of the numbers here and kind of how this all matters. If we filter the numbers by yards, Jalen Hurts ranks 9th in terms of all quarterbacks, right? And I measured 34 of them. Reason being is the Jimmy G, Trey Lance dynamic, and then, of course, the Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott dynamic, which, not mysterious, those four guys make up the spots 31 technically through 34, so the last four spots, which is not too surprising because this is filtered by yards first. But when you look at this, simply put, Jalen Hurts' numbers are really, really good, guys. 9th overall in terms of yardage. He's 15 of 24 for 62.5% completion rate, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. I want to make the point here so this gets through to people. People understand how difficult it is to play football on third down. If you guys remember when I went all the way back to the very beginning of this channel, I used to tell you guys, judge a guy's production by third down and pressure. That's where you're going to get the best bang for your buck for judging how well a guy's playing. And to make this point about how difficult third down is, right? We know a guy like, an Aaron Rodgers is money on pretty much any portion of the field. And even in this, even though he's ranked 20th in yardage, he's still 17 of 24 for 70.8% completion rate, 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, right? So even Aaron Rodgers has a little bit of a kink to the armor with a lack of receiving talent around him, although there's really nothing that's going to confuse him from a coverage standpoint. It's just hard to play on third down. To make this point even clearer, let's go to where it's a little bit more of a harsh realization. Tom Brady, one of the greatest guys to ever step on a football field. Tom Brady is 15 of 28 for 53.6% completion rate. We're talking almost 10 percentage points lower in completion rate than Jalen Hurts. 181 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kirk Cousins. Coming into the season, a lot of people really felt that Kirk Cousins is the type of quarterback that is very solid. He's a very good player, and he's often slept on by the average NFL fan. Well, on third down, Kirk Cousins is 11 of 27, which is 40.7% completion rate. Horrible. 138 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's hard to play football on third down in the NFL. So when you see Jalen Hurts' numbers, it's easy to see that statistical line I gave you, the 15 of 24 for 62.5% completion rate, 239 yards, 1 touchdown interception, and say, well, those are pedestrian. No, it's really good numbers. He's playing really well. To put this into better context, one of the guys who's just slightly ahead of Jalen Hurts, who's a phenomenal football player and also dealing with the absence of Tyreek Hill to his offense, which is Patrick Mahomes, is 15 of 25, 60% completion rate, just slightly below Jalen Hurts. 256 yards, so about 17 more yards than Jalen Hurts. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Jalen is playing very, very well on third down. But that's kind of the problem I have with this offense, is that I feel like Shane Steichen, Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, those are the guys that are mainly in charge of the passing game. And I'm sure Brian Johnson to an extent, although I have a hard time believing a quarterback coach isn't going into these meetings going, hey guys, where exactly is the hot read? We got to start working in some hot read stuff here. We're going to get this young man killed out here. We can't just put all the onus of third down on Jalen Hurts. And to be honest with you, that's kind of what they're doing. I will say there's been adjustments. The adjustments I noticed on the film is empty back sets. Last week, when Washington kept kind of bringing pressure towards us, and we were like, okay, like we're just going to spread them out a little bit, make it easier to read the box here, tell how many people are going to come off of this blitz, and then have more receiving options that are maybe closer to formation, and the timing of the play can line up when we get the ball out based upon that. So they are going empty back set to counter it. But I still believe when you're in a traditional form of your offense, you have to build in some form of an alert system that gives the quarterback the option to find a hot read. And that is lacking from our offense. That's a big issue, guys. That's a pretty big issue going forward that has to get cleaned up. It's got to get tidied up here because better teams are going to catch us eventually with that. It's going to become a major issue in a game, right? We always talk about production in the second half and driving and putting up, continuous points. You don't have to score, 24 in the third or 24 in the fourth per se unless that's necessary to win the game. But you still need to put up a little bit of points to keep kind of padding pad that lead, keep running clock, keep converting first downs. That's the big picture, right? With the smaller picture that leads to the big picture is your production on third down. And then zooming in past that lens, that's where you get into how we're responding to pressure in the hot reads. Because what I thought Washington did pretty effectively is to have really good interior defensive linemen who have been taken advantage of for a couple of weeks, who figured it out, got in there and mixed it up with a really good offensive line. Let's be honest. Washington played their butts off when it comes to the run defense last week. But what got them eventually was our ability to throw the ball on them. And I did see a few times where we still got them even in the second half of games, but going forward, it's still a bit of an issue, guys. Must add these alerts and hot reads to the offense on third down in particular versus pressure. When they load up one side of the box on you, you got to be able to replace defender with football. It's just the basics of playing the position, guys. The basics of scheme. It's not even really playing the position as much as it is the basics of how you scheme versus pressure. We'll see what happens, guys. I mean, there's always an adjustment that's going to occur one way or the other. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. With that said, guys, this is definitely kind of really getting into the details and nitpicking, but it is something I do notice on the film. This is something I feel like I need to bring up. I need to really point out and clarify what's going on because we're playing really, really well. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you there's not areas we can't tidy up and clean just a little more. There's definitely some fine-tuning that still needs to occur before we start getting into the later portions of the season where the competition will get much more challenging, and eventually you're going to head into that playoff run knowing this team and how stacked it is. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all later.